How do oil rigs determine the world's economy? Well, let's see in this video. Welcome to the Nook and Corner where future techies comes to get inspired. Petroleum occurs in the Earth's crust in all possible states and in various colors. It's a mixture of various hydrocarbons of a homologous series, namely paraffins, naphthens, and aromatics. The word petroleum is derived from Latin words, petro which is rock and oleum which means oil. It is mostly known as crude oil, or rock oil. Looking at the composition of petroleum. The main elements in petroleum are carbon, 84 to 86%, hydrogen, 11 to 14% and other elements such as sulfur, 0.06 to 8, nitrogen, 0.02 to 1.7, oxygen, 0.68 to 1.82 and metals, 0 to 0.14%. We know about the formation of petroleum, or crude oil, under the ocean by decayed plants and animals over millions of years. Constituents of petroleum. The bulk of petroleum is made up of hydrocarbons of saturated compounds like paraffin, naphthene and unsaturated cyclic compounds, mainly aromatics. Highest carbon atom present in the crude is C70. Main components are paraffins, CnH2n+2, olefins, CnH2n, naphthens, CnH2n, aromatics, CnH2n6, and the inorganic impurities are sulfur, nitrogen and oxygen. The petroleum products are refined, based on the temperature of the crude oil such as butane and propane, petrol gas, white petrol, kerosene, diesel, fuel oil, lubricant oil, paraffin wax, asphalt and cobalt. Continental deposits may actually be laid below sea level. These can be broadly subdivided into terrestrial and aqueous, depending upon whether the deposit is formed in water, or formed either by wind or glacial ice. The continental environment are subdivided into glacial environment, desert environment, alluvial environment, swamp environment, lacustrine environment. The glacial environments are generally considered to include the environment of a glacier and associated fringing meltwater environment. Material of the glacial environments is holoclastic ranging from huge blocks to the finest clay, biological factors, being negligible in their contributions to the sediments. The desert environment is generally considered to include the main energy of kinetic energy of wind and temporary streams and thermal energy involved in evaporation of playa lakes. Alluvial environment. According to Crumbain and Sloss, such deposits are formed in stream channels and associated floodplains of individual streams, or as broad alluvial fans. The energy of the stream and boundary conditions include the steam gradient, line or shape of the channel and limiting wells. Swamps and marshes are bodies of shallow standing water occupied by relatively abundant plant life. Swamp water may be marine, brackish or fresh. The detrital material of a lake environment may range from coarse to fine, and in some lakes, the content of dissolved salts and gases strongly influences sedimentation. Sediments are generally fine-grained, quiet water deposits, except for a narrow shore zone of sand and coarse particles. In transitional environment, there can be three broad subdivisions. They are delta environment, lagoonal environment and littoral environment. The marine environment is mainly selective for oil rigs. This environment starts from the shallow to deeper water. The neritic zone is about 0 to 600 feet deep. The bathyal zone is about 600 to 13,500 feet deep. The abyssal zone is about 13,500 to 21,000 plus feet deep. In these three zones, the drilling engineer will choose the proper place for drilling rigs. The types of drilling are onshore drilling and offshore drilling. The onshore drilling technologies have been used in older days. In this drilling process, the land-based environment is selected and drilled on the land rock such as bore well, but much deeper than the bore well. The hydraulic rotary drill and cable tool drilling are the most used methods, hydraulic rotary drilling method being the best. Offshore drilling. Drilling for hydrocarbons offshore, in some instances hundreds of miles away from the nearest sand mass, poses a number of different challenges over drilling onshore. In onshore drilling, the ground provides a platform from which to drill. At sea, an artificial drilling platform must be constructed. There are two types of offshore drilling: rigs that can be moved from place to place, allowing for drilling in multiple locations, and those rigs that are permanently placed. The types of offshore drilling are drilling barges, jack-up rigs, submersible rigs, semi-submersible rigs, and drill ships. The jack-up rigs. At the site, the legs are lowered to the seabed and the platform is jacked up to a safe level above the sea. When the drilling operations are completed, the legs are jacked up high enough so that the rig can float freely and be towed to the next location. The maximum water depth in which jack-up rigs are used is about 90 meters. The semi-submersible rigs. They are comprised of a drilling platform mounted on columns above two large pontoons. During rig moves, only the pontoons are submerged. At the drill site, the pontoons are partially flooded so that the rig rides deep in the water, providing a remarkably stable drilling platform. The drill ships are comprised of a drilling platform mounted on a conventional ship hull. These drilling units have also been mounted by anchors in the post, but today most are using DPS technology. Under dynamic positioning systems, they have been able to drill in water depths exceeding 2,000 meters. Petrochemical refinery plant. Jamnagar Refinery is the largest oil refinery, since December 25, 2008, with a processing capacity of 1.24 million barrels, located in Gujarat, India, owned by Reliance Industries. According to the Oil and Gas Journey in the world, a total of 636 refineries were operated on December 31, 2014 for a total capacity of 87.75 million barrels. Operating cost of onshore rigs operation rates between $8,000 per day to $45,000 per day. It may vary more high when the plant is large. Whereas the offshore rigs operation cost $800,000 per day approximately. Top oil generating countries are the United States, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Canada, China, Gulf countries such as UAE, Iran and Iraq, Nigeria, and India.